guess I should give a little intro. I'm Drake. This is XQC, real streaming legend. Me, I do music. In case you didn't know, I'm here. As you can see, fully intact, mind, body, and soul. In case you were wondering, right?
Mind, body, and soul.
Mind, body, and soul. You need facts to take me out. Fairy tales won't do it. Cheers to everybody.
Words live by.
Words to live by. Real talk. Cheers to everybody. Love. W's for everybody.
Welcome back, friends and folks. Today, I got a special video for you. I'm going to be discussing the entirety of Drake's lawsuit against UMG. It's a long drawn-out document, about 91 pages in total, but most of it is just repeated statements, and it's truly a hypocritical mess. If you haven't watched my videos prior on Drake, I'd highly recommend going through the playlist before or after watching this video to give yourself some more context on what the lawsuit entails. But I will try my best to keep this as self-contained as possible. So, without further ado, in late November of 2024, Drake would take legal action against both Universal Music Group and Spotify, alleging that they had conspired to artificially inflate Kendrick Lamar's song, Not Like Us. This wasn't an official lawsuit, but rather a petition for documents in preparation for a potential lawsuit. But for the purposes of this video and simplifying things, we're just going to call this a lawsuit. Drake's legal team started with a quote from Sir Lucian Grange, stating that it is harder than ever for artists to break through the noise. From the way they word it, Drake treats Kendrick as sort of an underground artist, someone that couldn't have broken through the noise without the help of UMG. This would only make sense if Kendrick had not released Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, or Mr. Morale. 4 albums that have all topped the US Billboard 200, meaning that Kendrick was already capable enough of breaking through that noise. Instead, Drake believes UMG launched a campaign to manipulate and saturate streaming services and airwaves with the song Not Like Us, in order to make it go viral, including by using bots and pay-to-play agreements. In other words, Drake is accusing UMG of paying for fake streams and using payolas in order to inflate the number of streams Not Like Us had. But what he fails to understand is that Not Like Us was a gradual continuation of the hype being built around their rap beef. It was a clash of two titans, so obviously a lot of people tuned in.
Okay, Matt, what's your favorite song right now? Right now.
Favorite song right now?
Say it.
Not Like Us.
For more than a decade, Kendrick and Drake had thrown subliminal jabs at each other, with keen listeners picking up on the references. It wasn't until the release of Like That that their beef really took center stage. And it all started with one line: "Motherfuck the big three, it's just big me." Within that first week, Like That was streamed 49 million times, becoming the second biggest rap song to debut on Spotify. Does this mean that Metro Boomin and Future used bots to push the narrative? No, if you were as terminally online as I was, you would have seen the hundreds of tweets quoting the lyrics, hyping up the beef, and asking Drake to respond. After almost a month of anticipation, Drake clapped back with push-ups, and that became the talk of the internet. You could not log on to Twitter without someone giving their opinion on this feud. To put it simply, if Drake's argument is that Not Like Us used bots to artificially make it go viral, then he's failed to understand his own medium, and how their feud got to that stage. It's arguably one of the biggest rap battles in history. Each diss track pushed it up farther to the mainstream. I mean, just think about it. White people started covering the breakdowns.
Anyway, in this year, Kendrick actually appeared on Future and Metro's Boomin' track Like That. And this is where Kendrick straight up responds to J. Cole, basically saying like, no, we're not a 3. I'm at the top. You guys are the peasants. But then other albums like Good Kid and Mad City basically got too much hype.
Shut up, white boy! Shut up, white boy! The amount of shut up, white boy!
To assume Not Like Us only went viral due to bots and payolas is extremely disingenuous. Not only does it misrepresent the sheer hype that surrounded this, but he fails to understand the reality and culture of rap battles. We as consumers eat this shit alive. And he should know, some of the biggest moments of his career were battling other rappers. So to believe that it only went viral due to bots is incredibly fucking stupid. Most people were just tuned in to see the two biggest rappers of our time go at it. This bot conversation stems from a DJ Academic stream where he brought on a 16-year-old who claimed that Kendrick's manager had reached out to him in order to buy 30 million fake streams.
Again, you could ask around about me. I'm not biased. I haven't, done this to fuck him over. I don't want to fuck him over. I don't want to fuck anybody over. But early on, when the song first dropped, it wasn't him. I'm not going to say he reached out to me himself because obviously he didn't. It was definitely somebody from management. They wanted me to do 30 million early, which fed into the rest of the views because obviously it was going to be a hit song either way. I like the song. You want me to be honest? The song is good. Like, it's a hit song.
Hey, sir. We, again, we're at the point where we're putting out public information. Could we also divulge names that we could verify even later? Who reached out to you on behalf of Kendrick?
I mean, I have payment proof, and I will DM that to you as long as you won't expose it right now on stream in front of everybody. But I will send you all the proof, all the receipts, and everything.
Okay.
Because there are certain things that I want to keep myself safe at the end of the day too. But I will send it to you.
I want to independently verify it. Hold on. I'm gonna put in this call. Well, you know my Instagram name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He got paid by Kendrick. I'm glad he said it because now I could say what I saw. He got paid by Anthony Saleh. It says Zell from Anthony Saleh with a confirmation number. Now, by the way, and this is to Kendrick's team, I'm not here trying to smear y'all at all. If anybody from this team want to reach out and be like, yo, that nigga's capping, check our records. We don't have no confirmation sending money to this motherfucker. But there is a confirmation number. There's an actual confirmation number. I don't use Zell, but it says Zell from Anthony Saleh with the confirmation number. Now,
here's the issue though. There's no company out there that's named Anthony Saleh LLC. Also, it's a Zelle payment. You can quite literally set anyone's name to whatever you want, send yourself the money, and claim they sent it to you. Plus, $2,500 is an extremely low amount of money to buy 30 million streams. To put it in perspective, it's estimated that you'd earn about $70,000 with 30 million streams. This would essentially be a money glitch if it were true. But it's not. And DJ Academics himself confirmed this on someone else's podcast.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I talked to my man from Spotify. I won't say the name right now. But legit Spotify nigga, he said, hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what that person on your stream was talking about. Them Kendrick streams is real. That's what
I'm saying. What I did, I called the people that I know oversee those people that play like that. And I PTR'd it on my floor. They said, whack, we didn't work that. We didn't touch that.
Also, just think about it. This isn't someone who works at Spotify. This isn't someone who has backdoor access to Spotify. If he did, he just admitted to a federal crime. Botting streams isn't just adding numbers to the song. There would have to be a device listening in at least 30 million times. And we're claiming one guy did this over the course of a night. Let's say the botter had 100 phones all connected to Spotify Premium. He's already down $1,200 from paying just the monthly charge. He'd then have to replay Not Like Us 300,000 times in the course of a night to reach 30 million botted streams. It's an impossible task, and he did that all for $2,500? It's highly unlikely that he botted all those streams. It's more likely that a 16-year-old was just trying to feel important on a DJ Academic stream.
And again, I have a certain amount of money that I just, for my age, the amount of money I have is kind of sickening. I don't want to risk that and then me end up getting robbed or me end up getting shot by somebody else who isn't.
I'm not trying to
affiliated
post your
with
bank account, brother. Just speak your truth.
Bro, it's Anthony Saleh. I'm crashing out because this is for my safety. This is how I feel. That's who paid me. Not saying I was in direct contact with him. That's just the name that was on the account that I got paid by. And that's how I feel. And I'm scared. Obviously, bro, I'm not of age. I'm young. I'm underage. I can't do certain things. I'm scared of people, bro. I do online shit. I'm not a shooter. I'm not a hitter. I got reached out to by people. I did this, and this is what happened. This is my safety net now. I don't want to die, obviously, bro. I mean, I'm just how I feel, and this is what I had to say. And it's stupid as fuck because obviously I want to keep making money. I have like I've made mid seven figures. Like I'm touching crazy money, but then again, if somebody's gonna come threaten my life, why does money matter? Why do
If Spotify detected any stream manipulation, they would have removed the numbers, withheld royalties, and charged fees. They would have financially benefited from this, but they didn't. The song's still up and the streaming numbers haven't yet changed. Also, botting streams only penalizes the artist in terms of the algorithm. Kendrick's further releases would have been pushed to inactive accounts. But with the success of GNX, it's hard to claim that bots were the defining factor of this rap battle. Plus, when DJ Academics was sharing his top streamed songs of 2024, Not Like Us was at the very top, and he didn't even argue against it.
Oh shit, I did show it. Nah, Not Like Us is my number one. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was. Not Like Us, Bent, Euphoria, Family Matters, and Push-Ups. I don't even know how it was number one, but fuck it. It was number one though, for real.
So, Paragraph 8 in Drake's lawsuit has already been debunked. It's either Drake's legal team was stupid enough to believe a 16-year-old was paid off by one of the biggest managers in the music industry to bot 30 million streams, or in actuality, they're trying to discredit Kendrick's success by any means possible. Drake himself has gone on a Kickstream to send the message, "Hey, pragmatic buddy, can we take it back to 2022 guy? Can you backdoor Eddie like Spotify backdoor the streams for that one song from that one guy?" He can't accept the reality of the situation. He can't take the L. And it's really sad watching him cope like this. He must genuinely believe that Kendrick botted those streams. Did Drake go outside once after the song was released? It was played everywhere. From weddings to birthday parties to bar mitzvahs. Hell, I was ordering Chinese food and my local restaurant was playing it inside. It was damn near impossible to escape it. The lawsuit brought up another accusation, one based entirely on the belief that UMG charged Spotify licensing rates 30% lower than its usual rates in exchange for Not Like Us being recommended to users who are searching for other unrelated songs and artists. Here's the thing though. I found evidence that both backs this up and contradicts it. Some people were sharing screenshots of Not Like Us being recommended on unrelated searches, but most others weren't experiencing that same problem. I've also found evidence that showed Drake being recommended when you searched up Kendrick's name. So it really boils down to the algorithm doing its own thing. For example, if I'm trying to listen to Flatbush Zombies and I search up Flat, I have no idea why I'm being shown songs made by Justin Bieber. If I search up Rihanna, I get The Weeknd and Nicki Minaj recommended to me. So I believe it's entirely plausible that the algorithm is showing you music based on either your play history or what others are listening to based on your search. To claim UMG is charging 30% less in licensing rates would mean that all these other artists are getting the same treatment. And for a business looking to profit, that's just not viable. After the lawsuit was filed, Spotify denied there being a secret licensing arrangement between them and UMG, and they found no evidence of bots boosting the streams for Not Like Us. They also stated that they had only used their own promotional tool, Marquee, which is how you get new songs recommended on your feed. Many artists use Marquee in order to advertise their latest releases, so it's nothing out of the ordinary, and it's not exactly proof that UMG launched a campaign against Drake, or that it was doing anything in favor of Kendrick. Marquee is simply a tool all musicians can use on Spotify. In paragraph 10, they accuse UMG of paying Apple in order to have Siri misdirect users to Not Like Us. This stems from a video posted by Jeremy Hecht, where he asked Siri to play Certified Lover Boy. But instead, Siri plays Not Like Us.
I just saw somebody on Twitter request to play Certified Lover Boy on Spotify, and it just goes straight to Not Like Us. I don't believe everything I see online, so let's just test it out, okay? You're seeing my screen to a degree. All right. Play Certified Lover Boy on Spotify. Psst, I see dead people. That's crazy. That's crazy. Spotify. What's going on? Carl, I have questions. Is this just because of the lyrics in the song? What's going on here?
If Drake's legal team had only scrolled down on the article they cited, they would have seen Jeremy's explanation into how he believed this occurred. Essentially, Siri looks up the lyrics to the song if you don't give it a direct song title. So, because he said Certified Lover Boy, Jeremy was directed to Not Like Us, which has the lyrics Certified Lover Boy, Certified.
I posted a video where if you ask Siri to play Certified Lover Boy on Spotify, it plays Not Like Us. And I did some research and figured it out because this is going viral. I saw Complex just reposted a version of it. It's going crazy on Twitter. They identify things using lyrics within the song. I'm assuming this feature is for people who don't know the name of a song, but they know the lyrics, and they ask Siri to play it, and Siri will use the AI to pick up like the genius lyrics in the background to play the song. So for example, I tried this. Siri, can you play Drop, 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 Drop on Spotify?
Maybe in this song, you shouldn't start by saying...
So it went to Family Matters by Drake. And then if you do this, Siri, can you play Wop, 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 Wop on Spotify? So there you have it. If you're ever looking for a song, you can find out what it's called on Spotify using your iPhone. But that being said, still hilarious. Still hilarious to think that there is a conspiracy to play Not Like Us, no matter what.
So again, I've already debunked 3 claims, and we're only on page 5. I'm also not a lawyer, just a guy who did the bare minimum of research, something his own lawyers cannot seem to do. Now, paragraph 11 accuses UMG of using payolas in order to increase the airplay of Not Like Us on the radio. And I'll admit, they have been accused of pulling this tactic before, which they had to settle on with a $12 million lawsuit. The issue is, Drake received this information from a third party, and he's yet to reveal what radio station that was. If the payola accusations were true, it'd be grounds for a civil RICO case on the assumption of bribery and fraud. But here's the thing, Drake doesn't have that information. Specifically, Drake doesn't have the method by which the third parties were paid, and he lacks sufficient information to identify the third parties who acted in conspiracy with UMG. Basically, this is Drake pointing fingers at UMG and saying, I think you did something shady. And I don't have enough information to prove that, but someone told me you were using payolas, so I have to believe it. I don't exactly know how you did it, but I'm gonna need you to show me exactly how you did it. Drake is accusing UMG of using third parties without having any idea of who those third parties are. He doesn't have any documents to prove his allegations, and he's literally begging to see the screenshots of evidence that's potentially not even there. If Drake had some hard proof that UMG used third parties to boost Kendrick's streams, then it would be entirely fair to ask for more. But as we've seen already, most of his evidence have already been debunked, and again, he still hasn't shared who this information is coming from. Wouldn't it be a lot easier to get the wire transactions from the secret third party he's already in contact with?
That there was like radio people that were being paid to push the song.
Now that I need to know about. Drake, now you need to snitch. Tell,
Stupid.
Tell. Because I think I know who it is and I don't want them here anyway.
Now they
Jesus.
also.
We don't need people like this in this business.
What's wrong with you, guys?
You want to put a name on wax? What do you?
Yes, I do.
Continue.
Their next argument is incredibly mind-boggling, claiming that UMG paid social media influencers to promote and endorse the song. Specifically, they named the NFR podcast in the lawsuit, believing that they had a deal with UMG in which they would publish podcast episodes, tweets, and other content regarding Not Like Us. To back up this claim, Drake cites different tweets the NFR podcast has made about the diss track, ones that clearly show them announcing and quoting lyrics from the song. But what's funny is that they did the same thing for Push Ups, Family Matters, and The Hard Part 6. Does this mean Drake's team had a secret arrangement with the NFR podcast as well? How fucking stupid do you have to be to make this point? The NFR podcast is an all-around rap news network. You can scroll through their tweets and come to that conclusion yourself. But because the tweets about Kendrick were getting more attention than Drake's, his team came to the natural conclusion that the NFR podcast was secretly being paid by UMG. It's incredibly baffling how dumb this lawsuit really is. They spent a good portion of it detailing the success of Not Like Us and how it kept breaking records. They also call out UMG for reposting tweets about the song, but I guess it wasn't a problem when they were doing it for him as well. He's such a hypocritical fuck that it's actually pissing me off how egregious this lawsuit is. It's what you call rules for thee, but not for me. It's perfectly fine when UMG tweets about Drake, but it's a big no-no if they do it for Kendrick. I've never seen this type of crybaby behavior from any other artist. To quote, "Every time a song breaks through, it means another artist does not. UMG's choice to saturate the music market with Not Like Us comes at the expense of its other artists like Drake." Do you guys remember when the album Scorpion released? To promote it, Spotify placed Drake on the cover of every playlist on its landing page, even ones that had no Drake tracks in it. Wouldn't this fit your definition of payolas? Why the fuck weren't you complaining about artificial inflation then? Why didn't you bring up that this would be coming at the expense of other artists who were more deserving of the cover? Also, only a moron would have come to that conclusion. Does this mean that each time Drake had a #1 song, it came at the expense of someone else's? If that's the case, then Drake has objectively taken away more opportunities from artists than Kendrick Lamar ever has. It's such an idiotic take. I can't fathom how stupid you have to be to really say this. He's just throwing shit at a wall, and somehow, it's only sticking back on him. In paragraph 18, they accuse UMG of firing employees that were closely tied to Drake. And the only proper evidence I could find of this were its mass layoffs last year, something they planned on doing even before the rap battle took place. Now, I'm not defending UMG here. To cut costs, they terminated hundreds of employees and instead combined their job roles. And I think that's pretty evil. But to say they were fired because of their association to Drake is really a stretch. One overall critique I have of this lawsuit is that he sued the wrong people. And if this were to actually go through, artists would have even less control over their releases. Let me explain. By targeting UMG, he's only going to be punishing other musicians. If record labels are solely held responsible, then they're going to stop allowing artists to freely speak their minds. Every bar would have to be approved by someone else, and that's grounds for censorship. If Drake were to be successful, he won't be helping other artists break through the noise. He'll only play a hand in silencing them. If he were to sue Kendrick, this would make a lot more sense. Kendrick is the one making those defamatory accusations. He wrote and recorded those bars. He's the one calling Drake a pedo. But if Drake were to do that, it would destroy his already declining popularity. He'd be laughed at for eternity. Imagine if Ja Rule sued 50 Cent after their beef. Imagine Jay-Z suing Nas after he released Ether. Would they not be labeled as corny, sensitive rappers? It's simply not part of the culture to file legal proceedings after you lost a rap battle. Most people take the L and just move on. But Drake cannot accept his loss, and he's only digging himself into a bigger hole. A month after filing this, Drake dropped the lawsuit, either because he knew it wouldn't go through, or because his evidence was murky at best. If a random YouTuber could debunk most of these claims, how do you think he'd fare against actual lawyers in a real courtroom setting? Much less ones from the biggest music corporation in the world. But as you see, that isn't the end of Drake's legal proceedings. As I've mentioned before, this was only a petition for documents in preparation for a potential lawsuit. After voluntarily withdrawing their request for these documents, Drake's legal team went ahead and filed an official lawsuit against UMG, this time for defamation. This 91-page document is a lot of information to take in, and after going through each page, I can safely confirm that most of what we've already discussed is mentioned. That means the fake bot streams, the Siri accusations, the payolas, the NFR podcast. I've already talked about that, so I'm not going to be double dipping into what we've already debunked. Plus, if you really go through it, it's a bunch of repeated statements, so for the purposes of simplifying things, I'm going to be combining different sections in order to give this a more natural flow. To start off, this isn't a lawsuit about Kendrick Lamar. It's not about a war of words between artists. They bring up no claims against Kendrick, but it's instead about UMG and their malicious decision to publish and promote false allegations about Drake that UMG knew were false in order to harm Drake's reputation and turn him into a pariah. Drake's team tries to argue that UMG intentionally launched a campaign against him, choosing corporate greed over the safety and well-being of its artists. In all fairness, it's highly unlikely that UMG believed these accusations to be true. If they did, or if they were given outstanding evidence, they would have most likely released Drake from his contract. In this document, he outlines the many times he's contacted UMG regarding what he believes to be our false accusations, and how they've impacted his career and safety. He states that UMG declined to do anything to assist Drake, and they instead pointed fingers to Kendrick Lamar. Fair enough, if you were to go through these documents and replace UMG with Kendrick Lamar, this whole lawsuit would make much more sense. For example, Section 206 is incredibly misleading as UMG hasn't published any statement that calls Drake a pedo. That was Kendrick Lamar. When King Von talked openly about his murders, did anyone hold Sony Music reliable for distributing the song? When Lil Durk got arrested, was Interscope held liable for publishing songs alluding to the murder of FBG Duck? No, cause that wouldn't make any fucking sense. It's either Drake sues Kendrick or he has no actual case. To argue that UMG published these statements with actual malice, you would need a lot of proof. You would need someone at UMG purposely spreading these allegations with bad faith intent. You can't simply say, they published a song that makes me look bad. It's not that easy. Just because they were the publisher does not mean they made those statements. His problem is with Kendrick, but he can't say that unless he wants to be publicly ridiculed. There's a few points he brings up. The more people that stream Not Like Us, the more money UMG sought to gain. In exchange, this would incentivize UMG executives to meet and surpass profit projections, which would in turn give the higher-ups a bigger bonus check. Now, key wording here, but they claim that by doing this, it had a detrimental effect on other record labels also within UMG, specifically Republic, who Drake is signed to. How likely do you think Nav was affected by all this? He's signed to Republic. Do you think Not Like Us seeing major success had a detrimental effect on Nav's career? What about Taylor Swift or The Weeknd? Did their numbers go down after Interscope exceeded sales projections? No, it might have affected Drake's catalog, but no other artists that were signed to Republic saw any major negative consequences from this. If Interscope were really looking to maximize their profits, they'd have Playboi Carti release an album every year. Legitimately, go look under their tweets. It's just Carti fans begging for a new album. But that isn't the case. Drake might be one of the biggest artists signed to Republic, but they don't solely rely on him to make their ends meet. Secondly, Kendrick Lamar recently signed to Interscope on a short-term recording deal, and Drake believes that Interscope was trying to prove their value to him by promoting him more effectively than any other music company could. If this was successful, he believes Kendrick would have continued his relationship with Interscope on a longer-term contract. I believe that regardless of who the record label was behind him, Kendrick's diss tracks towards Drake would have been massively successful either way. It was a clash between two titans. It wasn't just some petty drama. It was the two biggest artists of our generation going at it. In whatever room you put them in, there would have always been lots of spectators watching. Also, the notion that Interscope promoted Kendrick is very misleading. Sure, they did publish and distribute the diss tracks, but that's not how most of us came to find it. On Twitter, each of Kendrick's tweets reached close to 500,000 likes. It was trending for over a month. To claim Kendrick was helped by Interscope would downplay his own role in promoting it. He brought on his own success. Go through the comments of these tweets. It isn't just bots. It's real people who were hyped to see this rap battle finally come to fruition. And no amount of promotion from Interscope could have ever done that. Now, how exactly did Interscope promote Kendrick? Drake's argument was that they retweeted posts bragging about Kendrick's achievements, that they posted photos from the pop-out concert, and that they included his music video on a YouTube playlist. How many more times do I need to call this lawsuit stupid? Because that's all it is. So whenever UMG promotes Drake, when they tweet about his achievements, when they wish him a happy birthday, it's all good, right? But if they were to say anything about Kendrick, it's simply just not allowed. Here's the part that caught everyone by surprise. UMG whitelisted Not Like Us for a period of time, meaning content creators were allowed to post their reactions without it being hit by a copyright notice. He claims that it was done with the full knowledge of spreading the song as broadly and quickly as possible. In this lawsuit, he names the Cartier family, No Life Shack, Zias, RDC Gaming, and Cenat. He claims that they could have not legally republished the song in full or profited from it without UMG whitelisting it. If this were the case, Shaq and Zias' channel would have ceased to exist a long time ago, as most of their content is really just reacting to different songs. Plus, it's not like Kendrick's song was the only one whitelisted. Push-Ups, Family Matters, and The Hard Part 6 were also whitelisted. So how was this ever a real argument? They made reaction videos for those as well. Why does he keep leaving out key information like this in the lawsuit? Drake did the same thing he claimed UMG did, but nowhere in this lawsuit does it hint towards that. It's a very slimy and calculated move, and one that can be easily refuted if they bring on any of these content creators to the bench. He also brings up this point about how UMG used their stake in Complex in order to publish at least 50 articles about Not Like Us. So, when Complex did the same for Drake's diss track back-to-back, why wasn't Drake complaining then? What's the point of this lawsuit if everything you're accusing UMG of is something you've already benefited from? On UMG's publishing website, you can license Not Like Us for use in television and in films. And on that same website, you can license Push-Ups and Family Matters. If you were looking to find music that gave off the sense of winning, you'd find Not Like Us positioned under that filter. But you know what else you'd find? Family Matters. It's in the screenshot they provided. It's literally right there. It's another situation of rules for thee, but not for me. Lastly, Drake's contract with UMG was up for renewal in 2025, and he was truly in the position to sign for an even bigger paycheck this year. Noticing the high cost of signing him, he argues that UMG was trying to devalue Drake's music and brand in order to gain leverage and force Drake to sign a new deal that's on more favorable terms for UMG. If this were true, that's a pretty shitty thing for UMG to do. But there's one real issue that this fails to address. Why would UMG intentionally try to devalue someone's brand if it makes them a significant amount of money? Think it through. He claims to feel exploited by UMG. They definitely make more money off him than what he's signed for. So why would they want to lose a cash cow? Drake has the money to be his own publisher. This isn't like a small-time independent artist. If he feels exploited for his work, why would he want to sign back with them? I'm not a corporate chill. I'm not defending UMG for exploiting its artists. I'm just saying, if they really wanted to devalue his work, then they'd lose a lot of income. It's not exactly profit-friendly to have a pedo on your roster. It's not going to make them any more money. And engineering a new cash cow is significantly harder than milking the one that was at his prime. It's not in UMG's best interest to devalue the work of its artists. Yeah, they're probably profit hungry, but they know where that profit comes from. Also, if Kendrick proved that he's a bigger artist than Drake, wouldn't he also be in the position to sign a higher paying deal? Drake's contract hasn't even expired yet. This was a very preemptive shot. He should have waited till at least after the renegotiations to file this lawsuit. Otherwise, he doesn't really know how much UMG would have offered him. If Drake had good lawyers, which we know he doesn't, They could have argued that his Spotify and his Apple Music have yet to really be affected by all this. He's still pulling in over 100 million monthly listeners. His new releases are still seeing millions of plays, and that's no small money. In my opinion, he really screwed himself over with this claim. Not only was it a shot in the dark, but it proves that Drake's unsure about the future success of his own career. And that uncertainty is definitely not going to help him get a better deal. Now let's move on to the real meat of this lawsuit. The claim that this was all a ploy to paint Drake as a pedo and call for violent retribution against him. I've already done a full breakdown of the lyrics, the allegations, and everything in between. So for the purposes of saving time, I'm not going to be going over them again. If you want to know what they are, just watch these two videos here. But here's what you need to know. Drake isn't suing Kendrick Lamar for making these accusations. He is suing UMG for approving, publishing, and launching a campaign against him using Not Like Us. To me, Drake's wording an attack on UMG feels like he wants record labels to have more control over what their artists produce. This may not always be the best thing. It might limit an artist to only release music that their higher-ups allow. And in a world of ever-growing censorship, that would absolutely suck. UMG has come out with its own statement saying, throughout his career, Drake has intentionally and successfully used UMG to distribute his music and poetry, to engage in conventionally outrageous back and forth rap battles, to express his feelings about other artists. He now seeks to weaponize the legal process to silence an artist's creative expression and to seek damages from UMG for distributing that artist's music. I'm really not trying to bootlick here, but they said it perfectly as is. He's done this before. He's benefited from releasing diss tracks. And now he's trying to silence another artist for doing the same? I understand there is a bit more nuance to this, with Kendrick calling him a pedophile and all, but in terms of benefiting from a situation, it's all pretty much the same. In all fairness, there's no hard evidence that proves Drake is a pedo. But there are some photos that I could pass over to the neighborhood watch. Drake argues that UMG used every tool at its disposal to ensure that the world would hear that Drake likes him young. But on TaylorMade Freestyle, Drake, using an AI Tupac voice, said, "Talk about him liking young girls. That's a gift from me." You asked Kendrick to do this to you, bro, and now you're mad that he did it to you? I'm not really sure where he's getting at. It seems to me like he asked for this. His team also argues that UMG granted licensing rights to place Not Like Us on award shows, national political rallies, and sporting events, which is all true. But that doesn't mean UMG specifically asked for it to be placed on these programs. It could also mean that these programs sought the licensing rights themselves. If a song is popular enough, it'll be played at sporting events. This ain't anything new. During the 2019 NBA Finals, the Warriors would literally warm up to the story of Adidon. Plus, Drake himself did a rendition of Back to Back at the 2015 OVO Fest, and at the 2016 NBA All-Star Games. So I'm not really sure why he's tripping about all this. He's benefited from this exact situation almost a decade before.
Look, I learned the game from William West, so you can never check me. Back to back for the boys that didn't get the message. Back to back like I'm on the cover of Lethal Weapon. Back to back like I'm Jordan 96, 97.
A lot of this lawsuit deals with how being called a pedo has essentially ruined his life. Because everybody believes that Drake loves touching children. He's been compared to Weinstein, Diddy, and Epstein. And most people have been asking for the FBI to lock him up behind bars. There were flyers plastered all over Toronto showing Drake and Jack Densmore with the caption, "Canadian sex predators gotta stick together." Drake uses a ton of comments from the Not Like Us music video to show off how the internet now believes he's a pedo. In my honest opinion, Kendrick didn't expose what we already knew. But for the people who just discovered it, you shouldn't rush to make your judgments based on a song. I still believe he's a creepy weirdo, but I can back that up. And I want people to gather an informed opinion rather than going wild with their imaginations. It could lead to a lot of misinformation spreading, and people making comments like, "I bet Drake touches Adonis too." Look, I'm not defending Drake here, rather pointing out mob mentality when it comes to information spreading. If you were to be informed about all his misdeeds, you would likely come to the conclusion that, he's a creepy dude. So just keep the speculations to the side and work with the evidence you actually have. Another speculation were the colonizer theories, in which many commenters brush it off as Drake being Jewish. I don't believe that's what Kendrick was going for. He was most likely talking about how Drake appropriates black culture and how he's been able to profit off it. So for the ones out there making these theories, no, you're just giving Drake ammo for something Kendrick never claimed. Why I bring this up is because he's using this as a defense, when we all know full and well that it wasn't alluding to Drake's Jewish heritage. The phrasing was, you run to Atlanta when you need a few dollars, no, you're not a colleague, you a fucking colonizer. When placed in context, it alludes to Drake colonizing rap genres, like those years of him mimicking Atlanta artists, or the time he thought he was Dominican, or the many instances of him stealing someone's sound. It's a very sneaky tactic that he's using here, and him weaponizing his Jewish heritage to claim anti-Semitism is incredibly devious. The cover art for Not Like Us was also mentioned, and in these documents, he alludes to UMG doxing his home. My issue with this is that all of his home information is publicly available online. He's quite literally made a website to show off his mansion, and you can go through each room yourself. Plus, it took DJ Academic's one Google search to find his home address. So for this case, it's going to be very hard to argue that they actually dox his home.
Oh my God. Drake, you gotta shoot him, and you gotta shoot him now. I'm sorry. I just realized the cover art is Drake's house. Drake Park Lane Circle, 21 Park Lane Circle. City lets Drake build fence twice as high as set out in the bylaws.
All of this still boils down to defamation. How UMG published a song calling Drake a pedo. By this logic, wouldn't Kendrick be able to open up his own case for defamation as well? Since Drake kept hinting that one of Kendrick's kids were Dave Freeze. He's also accused Kendrick of putting his hands on Whitney, and we've already debunked that in my previous video. And lastly, he falsely accuses Kendrick of being molested as a child. So what is it, Drake? Are false accusations allowed, or are they not allowed? In November of 2022, Drake signed a petition to protect black art, meaning he was in favor of not allowing courts to use rap lyrics when sentencing someone. Through his own logic, the lyrics of Not Like Us shouldn't be used here. Do you guys see the irony in this? Is this not funny to anyone else? With every step of this case, he proves just how pathetic he really is. And we haven't even gotten to the most pathetic part. My favorite argument in this whole lawsuit is Section 60, where Drake claims that Kendrick suggested violence should be used against him because he is a pedo. He cites the lyrics, wop 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 wop, dot fuck him up, and I'm hands on, he fuck around, get polished. What an incredibly violent outing. I'm sure it had nothing to do with your nail polish, Drake. The ones you didn't want to chip. On the topic of violent retribution, let's discuss all the times Drake called for violence on Kendrick. Good Kid Mad City Van, we'll pop the latch and we'll let the door slide. Tears running down my cheek, laughing at you pussies dying. It's a war cry. Was Drake not alluding to a drive-by shooting here? Murder scene on your man tonight, then comes to the vigil with the candlelight. Body after fucking body, and you know Rick reading my Miranda rights. Whoa, 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 calm down there, Drake. Are you alluding to mass murder over a rap beef? It's not that deep, buddy. West Coast rappers do fades, right? Come get this ass whooping. I'm handing him out. Well, 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 Drake. All the violent retribution you claim can simply be positioned to self-defense. You were the one telling Kendrick you'd whip his ass. He was only answering in retaliation to your threats. Now here's the most threatening line in this whole beef. I'll slit your throat with a razor. All of this is incredibly violent, no? Would Republic Records like you making these threats towards another artist? Are they liable for the things you said, since, they published it? My point is that Kendrick can sue you for the exact same things you're suing him for. And if you're gonna go down this road, then I hope Kendrick does as well. One thing that is true is that on May 7th, a group of men drove by Drake's home and fired at least 2 shots. One of the bullets went through the security fence and hit Drake's front door, while another seriously wounded Drake's security guard. The guard did end up at the hospital in critical condition, but he managed to live through it. Due to this, Drake had to pull Adonis out of elementary school and send him off to live with his mother in Texas. I won't lie, this was pretty tragic. No one should have to lose their lives over protecting Drake, but to paint this as a consequence of the diss tracks is pretty disingenuous. A week before this happened, Cash XO's mansion was shot up. But here's the thing. Drake called him out on his diss track push-ups. So, did one of Drake's goons shoot up Cash's mansion? No, because we don't know that. Without knowing who the culprits were, we can't understand their motives. It's honestly a tale of coincidence that this happened. And I'm sorry that his mansion was shot up, but we can't pin that down to Kendrick.
There were 2 other break-ins that happened at his property. One of them was even able to dig under the security gate to gain entrance. Drake claims that in all his years of having been a celebrity, nothing like this has ever happened before, and that it's not normal. But if you were to watch my documentary about Drake, you'd know that this is not the case. There have been multiple break-ins in all of Drake's mansions, both violent and non-violent. And I'm not saying that it should have happened. I do believe everybody should feel safe in their own homes. But to say there was never any break-ins before this would be a complete lie.
Listen, if I, a small-time YouTuber, can debunk most of these claims with just a few simple searches, how likely would it be that Drake wins this case? I've gone through mostly everything, and his claims just don't seem to stick. It's either he looks incredibly hypocritical, or he looks incredibly fucking stupid. But in either case, the famous actor we once knew is looking paranoid and now spiraling. He's moving just like a degenerate, and every antic is feeling distasteful. But the truth of the matter is, it was Kendrick's plan to show y'all the liar. Yo, I know that was corny, bro. Alright, you don't have to tell me. Shut up. But after going through this case, it seals to me that Kendrick was right all along. And I'm not only talking about the pedo accusations, but who Drake actually is as a person. He's a pathetic, lame wannabe. He's only a rapper through songs. He doesn't live by the culture. He's a manipulator, a liar, a crybully. He is the ultimate Karen. He accuses Kendrick of doing the same things he's done, but it's somehow alright when he does it. Again, his problem is with Kendrick, but he's too ego-driven to admit it, so he's instead going after his label. This is never going to work. He can't prove the botted streams, he can't prove the payolas, he quite literally has no tangible evidence that this would hold up in a court of law. I'm not even a lawyer. All I did was search through the internet. So in summary, Drake has no case. He can be mad about being called the pedo all he wants, but there is some truth to why he's being called that. If you want to know more about that, go watch my playlist on the elimination of Drake. Now, if you got to this point of the video, let me know if you want me to be your lawyer. I will get you locked up. No promises though. So please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, go give my other videos a try. I'm not like a one-trick pony or anything. My content might be weird and all over the place, but I can never sit here and upload something that I don't find interesting. Always have a good video for you guys, and I hope you learned something from all this. And with that,